Welcome to CCM Discovery. Now, this is your go-to spot for uncovering today's freshest voices in Christian music, inspiring authors, comedians, movers, and shakers that are shaping the industry. Now, we're also going to rediscover the classic artists who built the foundation of contemporary Christian music as we know it today. Now, I'm your host, Roger St. James, former contemporary Christian music radio DJ. I'm here to guide you through the stories, sounds, and the people behind the music that you and I love. Now, whether you're a longtime fan or just starting your journey, get ready to dive deep into the hearts, spirit, and inspirations of contemporary Christian music. So let's discover together.
Close my eyes, I see your face. Still missing your warm embrace. Wishing I could tell you about my day. I remember those nights we used to pray. I would ask God to keep you safe and stay by your side always, always. I know it's not the end, just until we meet again. You'll be dancing young and free. Yeah, I know just where you'll be. I believe.
Is Jake and Sky. I have to say before we bring him on that touched me at a very important part of my life. I lost my mother recently, and shortly after that happened, I saw that. So thank you so much for that, Jake and Sky, and welcome to the show.
Hey Roger, thank you so much. Thank you for having us. And yeah, that song that we wrote was from an experience that we had losing some family members as well. And so, we thought we would sort of take that grief as well as the hope that we'll see our family members again and just put those feelings into a song. And we're very honored to know that it blessed you.
Oh, it was fantastic. It really came at a perfect time, and I've watched it time and time again, and that's why I really wanted to open the show with that. So thank you very much. Well, welcome to the show, and one of the first things we like to do here is let you guys just be thankful. Come on the show and say hi to people, and just let people know what you're happy about at this moment.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I guess I'll do a super brief introduction and I'll say what I'm at. Okay, so I'm Jacob Velasquez. I'm 18 years old. Some people call me Jake. Some people call me Jacob. You can call me either one. Technically, my professional term is Jake, especially for Jake and Sky. And oh man, I feel like there's a lot of things to be happy about. I've been reading a lot more recently, and so that's made me happy. And I recorded drums. I recorded some drums to some of our new music prior to filming this, and so that made me very excited and thankful. And so, yeah.
Hello, my name is Skylar. Some people also call me Sky. Either one is fine. And off the top of my head, I would say two things. One, at the time this is being recorded, I have just finished halfway through my midterms, and so far I've been getting pretty good grades. So I'm really happy about that. And also, I've done the play. I am doing the play, The Little Mermaid, and I got the role as Ursula, which I totally didn't expect because, in my opinion, I thought I personally blew the audition in a bad way. But I got cast back, and they said, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Great, that's awesome."
That's fantastic. And Scott, I want to tell you a story. I'm an old man, and back when The Little Mermaid came out, I actually had the unique opportunity. I interviewed Jodie Benson when the original Little Mermaid, and when I heard you singing Ursula, it just brought all those memories back. And I just think you did a great job. I've heard on your Instagram page, and as we talk, Eric will put all that information underneath us. But I appreciate. I had forgotten that, and until I saw until I saw you singing the part of Ursula, and it was great, and she was amazing, and I know you are as well. So this is just a nice member berries for me, and I appreciate that.
Thank you
Oh
so
wow,
much.
that's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. Now, let's just we'll touch this part at the beginning. You guys have been a huge part of the Doug Flutie Foundation for Autism.
Yeah.
And if you guys just want, I don't want to tell your story. So if you just want to speak on that, and then we'll get into the meat of this fun time.
Oh, absolutely. So, I guess I'll go like the our story with autism goes kind of far back, so I can give a little bit of background. So, when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with a form of autism. And prior to that, when I was like between when I was
Mhm.
0 years old and 4 years old, um, I was diagnosed with many other things. I was diagnosed with a severe case of GERD after being rushed to the hospital one night because I couldn't breathe. I was diagnosed with a feeding disorder, speech delay, and then autism when I was 4. And so there was a lot of struggles in my own young life. Um, Skylar was also diagnosed with
Yeah.
autism. You want to talk about it briefly?
I was also diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. We're 4.5 years apart, so
Yeah,
he
people
would've
think
been-
we're twins, by the way. Like we're actually 4.5. So,
They thought we were twins until you got the beard. Then
Wow.
it got a little more. Anywho, yeah, I was also diagnosed when I was 4 years old, and I was also diagnosed with something called trisomy 8, which basically means I have. Tell me if I get this wrong. I feel like I say it wrong like half the time, but I have an extra chromosome in some of my cells.
extra number
Number
8
8 chromosome.
Yeah.
I'm not good at science. Forgive me.
Bruh.
Well, as long as you do okay on your science midterm, that's really all that matters.
So with those things, our childhood was quite a struggle, and doctors would even tell our parents that they didn't know what our future would hold. And you know, we kind of realized after some discouragement, our family kind of and we're so thankful for our parents. We praise God like every day for our parents because they decided to just always continue praying for us and doing whatever they could to help. And one of the biggest things I think that really helped us through that was just come into faith and coming to know Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. That not only improved our own lives dramatically, but it also even improved our relationship with each other and with all of us as a family. So now with the Doug Flutie Foundation, they reached out to us several years ago for a performance opportunity, and the first one we weren't able to make, but then we were able to make a second one.
Yeah.
And so we've been working with them for the last few years, and it's an awesome organization. It's a great opportunity to be able to bring a sense of hope to other people and families that have autism who might be going through the same or similar discouraging things that we went through. And so yeah, it's great to be able to bring that joy just through the music we do, and to be able to bring a sense of hope, like you guys aren't alone, this is how we kind of turned out. So
you turned out darn well, and much kudos to your parents for that, because that's
100%.
So talk about your walk of faith. How did I'm sure it wasn't the same for both of you, but how did that work out? I mean, you come from a different type of background. So how did your walk of faith start?
So I would say for me personally, I would always hear, like, my family members, like my parents and my nana would always share with me like Bible stories. Like I think they would show me like kids books of like the Bible stories and stuff. And like, I remember my nana would show me like kids pictures of like describing different stories in the Bible. So I always knew like the famous Bible stories, like Noah and the Ark, God leading the Israelites through the Red Sea when Egypt was chasing after them. And Jesus' death and resurrection. So like even like the Tower of Babel, I remember learning about. And so, and obviously like creation and stuff. So I heard all the stories, and it sort of just became a little bit of a routine for me. Like, all right, we're going to have our time to read the story and do a little craft, and then we're just going to go on with the rest of our life. So when I was like really young, I was like, okay, this is cool. But when I grew older, and I want to say like when I was 12 years old is when I really started to have personal faith in Jesus and like really start to dive into a relationship with him. Interestingly, it was actually after my America's Got Talent audition. There was a whole, like, it was the year of COVID, 2020, or yeah, 2020. I thought I said that wrong. 2020. So when I went on America's Got Talent in 2020, it was an amazing experience, the best day of my life. But then afterwards, it was coronavirus hit, and so like the whole production was like kind of misaligned, and like it ended up getting shut down. And I was like I was completely devastated when I found out that it was going to be shut down and I wouldn't be able to move on in the competition, because I was like, man, this was my dream for so long. Like, why can't I keep going with it? And so, but it was almost in that I started to really know God more personally, because it was like, even though I thought like this was like definitely going to happen because I really wanted it to happen so bad and I was working so hard, it not happening kind of forced me to think, okay, there must be sort of some sort of divine wisdom or knowledge that is redirecting me to do something else, maybe with a better plan for me than, going down this route. And I'm not because there's anything wrong with America's Got Talent. America's Got Talent is great, but like maybe God had a different plan for me specifically. And so, yeah, no, that's when I really started to actually trust him. I began reading the Bible more and like actually, starting to like study it more for myself and like apply the meaning to my life from the stories and the texts that I was reading. And that's sort of where it really sort of like, I guess, initiated, if you will. So
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
very cool.
For me, I would say it's pretty similar to Jacob's, just like scratch out the America's Got Talent part. When
Just
I was
because you haven't gotten there yet. That's all, Scott. You haven't
yeah,
gotten there yet.
but when I was young, like Jacob said, our nana would always like make crafts and stuff, and I was always like spoken about the Bible, spoken about the stories. Um, I would definitely say it really hit me more once I got out of elementary school into middle school, because I was blessed enough to go to a Christian school for middle school, and I still am at that same school. And I just saw that, like, the people here are having so much more fun without having more of those worldly things. And it's like, wow, I feel more comfortable here, and yet I still feel that sense of fun and joy. I would also definitely say my church as well. My church has taught me a lot about God and the Bible. And I remember I'll always be like, let's go to church, let's play games and do this exciting thing, because the pastors would always have this fun, like, joy in them. Like, it wasn't like a struggle. It was always like a what's something new we're gonna learn today. So I definitely felt like the authorities around me, and just seeing how other people were influenced by it definitely influenced me as well. There wasn't, and I would definitely say there wasn't like a big thing that had to happen for me to really start believing. I would definitely say it's little by little, just by the people who surrounded me.
yeah, it
Which,
kind of happened over time. Wasn't
yeah,
just like a boom.
yeah, that's why I definitely say be careful with who you surround yourself with. It could bring you up or it could bring you down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I would also give attribution to our church as well for my own personal faith, because I didn't they weren't necessarily the reason I came to Christ, but shortly after
Yeah.
I started serving on the worship team and attending the services and everything, and so definitely was a huge help in boosting my like knowledge and intellect when it comes to the Bible and things of that nature. And so
And that's the Potential Church, correct?
yes, so Potential Church is the church that we currently attend and serve at in Cooper City, Florida. So
We've been there for what,
I want to say 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So
Oh, excellent. So how do you, I mean, with your autism diagnosis, how does that affect your faith, and how do you kind of combine that? And as people know here, I am an autism parent, so it has been very difficult, but it has also really taught me, and I'm not speaking for you. If this is not your experience, please understand this is just mine. That I have learned so much from Matthew and from his big brother, of patience and love and understanding. And that's what I've really learned from our autism experience. But you actually live it. So how is that for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, for one thing, for me personally, as it affects me now, I think I see the world differently than everybody else, and like even in little ways. And so, maybe I'll be in like a group setting where like people are talking amongst themselves about, I don't know, something, whatever. And I'll be like listening, and I'll either, I've gotten better at this over time, kind of sort of adapting to society's way of communicating. But there was a time several years ago where I'd be in a group of people, and I would either not understand what they were talking about because I just saw it differently, or maybe I would take something they would say more literally than like figuratively. That's something that I have a little bit of a tendency to do at times. Or another thing that would take place is sometimes I would say things that I thought were funny, but would come across as like disrespectful. And it's not because I was trying to be disrespectful at all. Like, I'm like in this conversation, and I'm like, I appreciate this person, so I'm just trying to be funny or whatever and keep the
Yeah.
conversation going. But it'd be taken as hurtful or rude or something of that nature. And but it was never what I intended. And so, that's, I suppose, a little bit of miscommunication at times. But I also think, those can be seen as sort of downsides. I think it's sure there's downsides. I think it's also important to remember that they can be worked through. So I've worked through those things, and it's not like, oh, it's like, how do I say it? Like, it doesn't affect me as badly now. I've learned to adapt it to it a little bit more. Sometimes I'll think something that I think is funny and I just won't say it, or I'll just, so,
That's so real though.
but yeah, so, but
We all do that. We all do that, Jake. So no. I've been kicked off radio stations for saying things that I thought were funny. So I understand completely.
yeah. So, but I mean, I think another thing is, on the flip side, I think it's also a very big superpower. I have like an interesting ability to hyper focus and on like a task and just sit on it until like I complete it, which I think is like, I at times, and I don't say this to be like braggadocious or anything. My brain can tend to be analytical and just like uh, explain things as I see them. Maybe that's another trait. But I sometimes I feel like I can just plow through a task like a bulldozer, like just get it all done and just like just have the energy to like keep working on it until it's done. Um, and that's something that maybe not everybody else has. Some people kind of have to hop between tasks and certain things like that. But so I'd say that's helpful. I mean, yeah, actually, it's extremely helpful. I think what else? I don't know if I would exactly say that this is a direct result of autism, but I do, as I said, sort of tend to think analytically. And recently, I've developed this way of thinking that's like, it's very, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's a lot of people like to think about their feelings, I suppose, and like, oh, this is how I feel, this is how I feel. I guess more so have been thinking that this is just how I see it, and this is just how like it is, like more like factual in a way. And so, and I think that's also even
Makes sense.
helpful for music things as well, because I'm like thinking about like data and numbers and things like that have to, go together and in a musical context. But I'll say one more thing. I'm kind of rambling. I apologize. I've noticed.
You have all the time in the world, Jake. Do your thing.
I've also noticed that I have this interesting, I would say it's an ability. Sometimes it's a little bit of a weakness. It's something I have to be mindful of. I have this ability to sort of very easily and like quickly be able to like copy traits that I see in other people. And so, maybe a little bit more rapidly than the average person. Like I'll literally see someone do something, and I'll just instantly, my brain will almost like set it in as like a character trait. So, and that doesn't always happen, but sometimes I'll like maybe see something as significant, and so I'll like just kind of subconsciously store it in memory. So that can be a great superpower when I surround myself with the right people, and it's like, this person's very loving, and I liked how they handled this, so it's like, okay, automatically, like that's like stored in my brain. And there's also examples where it's not as great because maybe someone like just doesn't handle something the right way, or maybe it's for, I don't know. I'm a human, so allow me my vanity. Sometimes I'll see things that someone will do and it seems intriguing, but it's really not the way God would want it to, like maybe the way God would want someone to respond to a particular situation. But my brain goes, aha, oh, like that's intriguing, like, you know. So it can be a little bit of a, I guess, weakness, but like just something I have to be mindful of. It's not like a huge like stumbling block. It has its pluses and minuses. As long as I'm mindful of it, I think everything's gonna be fine.
How about you, Sky?
Okay, so the first thing that pops into my mind is I have a very imaginative brain, if that makes any sense at all. Like,
She writes great stories, by the way. But anyways, continue.
Oh my. But like I would like create it, like I would watch something and then I'll create this random story in my head, and then instead of writing it down, I would imagine it in my head while I like run with music or something. I don't know. Like I've been doing it for the past 2 years, and I mean, great exercise. Like my parents, my brother don't mind. But yeah, I'll definitely say that. Like if I'm bored, I'll literally just create like a random story, and that will help me go to sleep or something. I'm trying to.
That's interesting because coming up with stories in my mind usually tends to keep me awake.
Like, I would definitely say with the stories though, sometimes my imaginative brain will wander off. Not like even daydreaming. Like I'll try to go to sleep, and sometimes like my mind is not even just like my mind is just very awake. So I'll be like, 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3. Oh, the sheep is doing a backflip. Oh, remember when we were at our cousin's house and we had that trampoline? And all of a sudden my brain goes somewhere else. I'm like, how would I get this from sheep? But yeah, off the top of my brain, that's like the first thing that comes to mind. I was gonna say something else that was something you said, and I completely forgot.
I'm trying to go back to what I said. My brain, so I can pick up things from other people quickly.
I can't do that.
What were the things that I said?
That's okay. We can swing back around to that. That's no problem. This is whatever comes out comes out. That's why I love this, because I don't have a boss, so it's our show. We're in this together, so we can do whatever we want. But I need to touch on this because Sky, you were talking about Little Mermaid before, and you were also in my other favorite movie of all time, Mary Poppins. You were in the play Mary Poppins. Who did you play in that?
So I actually did the play twice. The first time I did it, I got Winifred, and then the second time I did it, I got Ensemble, which both were excellent like roles, because I like having the mindset of, okay, this time I'm like a main character, and this time I kind of get to see more of the behind the scenes. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's one of my favorite. And now that Dick Van Dyke just turned 100, I think that's absolutely amazing. Wow. I'm a huge fan of that guy. So let's bring it. I mean, of course, Jake, I definitely want to talk about, America's Got Talent, Good Morning America, The View, Steve Harvey Show. But what I really want to talk about is, when did you guys find that it was, I mean, I know, Jake, you play 8 instruments, and I'm going to ask you at some point to name them all, because that is just amazing. I can't drum. So, so when did music, first of all, for you, Jake, and then when did it become a brother-sister deal?
Yeah, so it's actually I would say I think it's a cool story. Maybe I'm biased, but so I started playing music when I was 3 years old. I'm 18 years old now, so I've been playing music for 15 years. I started out on piano. My dad actually plays piano. I'll get into that a little bit about we're a collective team. It's actually more than just us two. It's us two and our parents, really. It's like we're a whole unit. I'll address that a little bit more later. You asked me about musicality. So I started out on piano. My dad plays piano. That's where I was originally inspired. So I started playing piano. I started taking piano lessons. And then when I was 8 years old, when I was 8 years old, I started playing drums. Just from watching like YouTube videos of like other drummers who would do drum covers. I was just fascinated by just watching them play. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that. And so I got like a Toys R. I think my great grandma got me like a Toys R Us drum set. And so I was banging around on that. And then eventually my parents actually bought me like a full like Pearl Export like full drum kit. And so I had that in my bedroom. I was playing that all the time. And so that's sort of where it started. And then during the coronavirus, after America's Got Talent, the whole ordeal, as I explained earlier, now everyone's like stuck at home, including us. We can't go outside. We can't go anywhere.
We can't touch grass.
That's a very fair way to say that, Sky.
Like, we were locked in, doors locked, everyone inside the house. And so I sort of was like, what can I do now that's like is a beneficial use of time while I'm stuck at home, and indefinitely, because like at the time I think it was like, oh, we're staying home for 2 weeks, and then it was like 2 months, and then it was like the whole rest of the year. And so I started learning all the other instruments that I play now, and so now I play piano, drums, electric guitar, bass, ukulele, harmonica, saxophone, and cello. And I sing, so you could say that's sort of an instrument as well.
It's a vocal instrument. That's an instrument. It counts.
Yeah. And so that's where my musical journey really, I really it wasn't even like, oh, then I started my musical journey after I learned all these instruments. I was really having a musical journey in like performance life since I started playing piano, or like shortly after I started performing. And so then once I started playing all the instruments that I do now, I started incorporating all of them into my live performances. And so instead of just playing like piano pieces or like playing a quick drum solo, I would play like medleys of one of the things that I remember performing was like, I did a medley of like the most popular songs that are often associated with each instrument. And I just played all of them back to back. So like for piano, I did like piano and harmonica and played Piano Man. And then I ran to the drums and played like a Linkin Park song. And then I played like a song on guitar. So it was like that, like, and so that's I began incorporating my instruments into performances that way. Shortly after that, Skylar did a play at her. Oh, okay. Okay, Skylar's gonna say her story.
Okay, so when I was a little bitty baby, my mom today, in this day and age, my mom told me that when I was younger, I would be singing before I was even talking, which I still don't understand how that works, but okay, I have to get more information about that. But yeah, I always loved like music and stuff. Would I get a little annoyed sometimes when Jacob would play the drums? Yes, but besides the point.
At some point he wasn't good, so we all have to remember that.
No, it was just a noise.
It was even worse.
When I was like 5-year-old. When I was a 5-year-old baby, I didn't think of the drums as a cool instrument. I thought of the drums as noise. How many noises can I make? So I'm hijacking. But when I was in the 4th grade, I had an option to be in a school play, and this play wasn't like Mary Poppins Jr., Newsies Jr. Like it wasn't known. It was like my teacher would make up these plays, and put these songs together, and so I auditioned because I love singing, and there was a choir. And I'm like, yes, I'm going. So then I did that, and they're like, oh, by the way, here's the main character. I'm like, okay. So that definitely like sparked. First of all, that sparked my interest for acting. That's my first ever play, and now I'm on my 11th play. And second off, like, I guess you like saw that and you realized my singing.
So can I take over again now?
No, how dare you?
Okay, great. So okay.
I love brothers and sisters. It's so much fun.
Yes. So I saw her do the play. Me and a couple of our family was there. So I saw oh my goodness me. I'm sorry. I saw Skylar do the play. I was like, wow, that's awesome. And then I asked her, do you want to like join my performances and like you could sing a couple songs with me? I'll still do my like running around from instrument to instrument for some songs, and then maybe for some like feature songs we'll do them together. She was like, yeah, I'm down. And so
I want to be famous.
So we did our first performance that we did together was in January of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, or 2023, one of those two. We'll say it's 2023. So so we performed together for the first time, and then from there on, it was like basically just every performance that I did, we would just do together.
Yeah.
And like she would sing with me, and then I started singing, so we would sing together and like harmonize and all that. And so that was a really like key sort of shift, I guess, in our performance. So like there's still a lot of elements that are similar to my old performances, where I run around from instrument to instrument. And so it hasn't really, there's still like core elements. It's evolved over time though. And so I'm very thankful for the way it is now. Honestly, I wouldn't want to ever go back to just performing by myself now that we perform together. And excuse you. And um, so yeah. So now here we
So
are.
where do you guys? I mean that's really cool. And you guys, you do have a. I've listened to you individually, and you're both great individually. But when you come together, there's definitely something special there. Where do you think you guys want to keep going with that? I mean, you guys are so young, and you have so much to offer. Do you think you want to, at least in the short term, is this where you want to be?
Absolutely. I would even, for me, I would even go for as far to say the longer term. I want
Yeah.
to continue doing this. I want to continue performing. I want to, I love our performing, and I think our one of our like ultimate dreams is to play in like a big stadium, like the how the big Christian artists do, like Forrest Frank and like for King and Country and like Torrin Wells and Toby Mac. Like they play in these stadiums, and we love going to their concerts, and it's so cool. All the like technical stuff, I love like tech behind the scenes stuff, and so um, just seeing all that is like wow, like we want to do that and like get there someday. But not even just to like put ourselves on a pedestal or like say, oh, we made it, because that's not really what it's about. It's really about preaching the gospel, spreading the joy of Jesus Christ in various places. And really, it's like I would say our fundamental goal is to share our music and share our hope and joy with other people, Christians and non-Christians alike.
Mhm.
Hopefully, even bringing people
Yeah.
who haven't come to the faith yet along for the ride, and also giving people who already know Jesus as their Lord and Savior, as an extra encouragement and things of that nature. And so, but we do have those sort of big, like longer term, I suppose, goals that we are striving for. So,
Well, you had a little bit of a taste of that when you played at Fenway Park. That must have been kind
yeah,
of cool.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That
I
was
loved Fenway Park.
Fenway Park was a blast. I will say in terms of I tend to be critique myself particularly. That's just how I am. Like I'll watch back performances just so I can critique myself. I get enjoyment out of it. I feel like I'm making progress. And so I'll watch that performance back. I've watched it back several times, and I'm like, wow, that was so fun. That was so cool. That was an amazing experience. But then I'll also be like, oh, there's these like technical things that like we could have done. Like, I could have put this up this way or like done things like that. And so, we're always constantly trying to improve in our craft and, get better and improve the quality of what we do. Even just for like an easier flow in our performances and, everything that we do. So,
But it is a lot of fun to watch your videos because there's some, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've watched a lot of videos over the years, and you can always tell when people should be together in videos and when they're just performing together. And you guys are together. Watching you, it's very clear that you love what you're doing. You love each other, and yeah, see, there you go. And you're really doing it for the right reasons. And it's just, you guys are inspirational, and I'm going to say that. And it's our show, so I get to say whatever I want. And you guys are really an inspiration, and I'm so glad. And I'm going to drop her name here so you can talk about it. That our good friend Morgan Starner brought us together.
yes.
And she was a ton of fun, and I am so glad she introduced me to you guys.
Yeah, no, we love. Okay, so
Yeah.
so we have to now tell you about how we originally met Morgan. So
Oh yeah, I want to hear this story.
yeah. So in I want to say like maybe beginning of 2024 or end of 2023, one of those two.
I think 23.
It was like in that. Yeah, you're probably right. So end of 2023.
I believe you, Sky. We'll go with 23.
Yeah, we'll go with that. She's probably right. So we were writing sort of like our first songs, like very very first songs. And our that is Jake and Sky. I wrote songs like instrumental pieces and stuff, but our first songs as Jake and Sky, we started writing, and we wanted some assistance with just like putting some like melodies together and some lyrics together. We had some ideas, but we wanted someone to like help us, maybe polish it up a little bit and stuff. And so we actually met Morgan through this process through the Doug Flutie Foundation, interestingly. So we were working with the Doug Flutie Foundation, and they were helping us find a sort of songwriting assistant, if you will. And the person that we were working with, his name's Dylan. God bless Dylan. He put an ad out at Berklee College of Music saying, Christian duo, because we wanted someone who was also a Christian so they could relate to the lyrics and, kind of just be on the same page. And so he put an ad out, looking for Christian songwriters to help write with brother and sister musical Christian contemporary duo. And she was like the first one who responded back. And so we hopped on a Zoom call with Morgan, got to know her, and just loved her from off the bat. We, talked about faith. We talked about songwriting and all that stuff. And so then shortly after that, we began actually meeting together to do like lyric writing and melodies and stuff. That was a awesome process. We still even do that to this day. Like, and now it's cool because it's not only like she's helping us with our songs a little bit. I have gotten the chance to produce some of her songs for her. She released her song Funk recently, her debut single. Freaking awesome song. I love it.
It is a good one.
Yes. Maybe I'm biased because I produced it, but anyways, besides that, I think even if I didn't produce it, I would love it. So I got the chance to be able to produce and mix that song for her. I played all the instruments on the track, and very thankful to have been a part of that process. And so now it's cool because it's like, I'll record something for her and then she'll also do something for us. And so it's like a cool trade-off. But she's just amazing. She has a heart of gold. She's very sweet. She's actually also our vocal coach. And so, she's, I give major attribution to Morgan Starner for helping us with our own vocals and everything, and being able to sing professionally and everything. And so yeah, Morgan is awesome. You guys, for viewers watching or listening, definitely go check out her music. Her song Funk is out. By the time that this is released, maybe she'll have another song out. Maybe.
Well, she does a ton of, just like you guys. She does a ton of stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and we definitely keep tabs on her. Now, was that for your album that came out earlier this year? Was Breakthrough, I believe it's called?
Yes. So she co-wrote many of the songs on our album Breakthrough. So
that's great. How's that album been doing? You guys happy with it? I hope.
Yes. Oh yeah, the album's doing great. We've now honestly, yes, I'm extremely happy about it. It's for our debut album. I think it turned out very well. It was an incredible process. We wrote the whole thing over, I want to say, like
a year and a half?
Maybe a year and a half, just between, like, because I think we started the first song like a year and a half or 2 years before the album release, and then we were kind of just releasing singles here and there. But now what I've been doing is like remixing some of those old songs and posting the new arrangements of them, like remixed versions with new vocals and stuff, and even just like new musical, thing, like music track behind it. That's something I get a lot of enjoyment out of doing. We've also been preparing a lot of new music recently. We're writing lots of new songs, and so everyone be on the lookout for those. So very excited.
Definitely, yeah, and definitely keep us in the loop on that stuff. We want to let everybody know what you guys are doing, and we're so glad that you're with us. One of the questions I always like to ask is, Is there a particular Bible verse that you guys hang on to individually
Oh,
together, or is there something that you really like hang on to that gets you through the day?
that's interesting. Do you want to go first?
I'm trying to think. The thing is, I have a Bible verse, but I haven't remembered it yet. It's Matthew. I think it was I have it saved on like my WhatsApp, like the bio. It's like Matthew 20:28.
Okay.
I don't remember. Matthew 20:28 and Psalm 23:4. I do know that one. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. That one I do know.
Yeah.
ESV.
How about you, Jake?
Well, I would say like recently I've more started diving into just trying to memorize overall precepts rather than like a singular verse.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I don't know, words for me. I've been really enjoying reading the Beatitudes recently. In Matthew chapter 5. There's a chapter called the Beatitudes. It's Jesus saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those." Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been really just enjoying like reading through that, and really the whole. I haven't read the whole Sermon on the Mount. I don't think from beginning to end. I probably have, but like recently I've just been sort of focusing and studying the first part. So the blessed are the poor in spirit, and then going into like you as my disciples, as what Jesus was saying, you as my disciples are the light of the world, you're the salt of the earth. And so I find an interesting connection between Jesus saying blessed are, like blessed and the so okay, I'll get a little, I might get a little theological here because this is stuff I'm very fascinated by.
You're
So the
allowed
word,
to, Jake. Go for it.
great. So the word blessed is, so the New Testament was written in Greek, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. The New Testament, in the passage, blessed are the poor in spirit, so the Beatitudes. The Greek word for blessed is materios, I think is how you pronounce it, or materios, like something like that. Anyways, it translates in English to blessed, happy, joyful, or delighted, gladness. Like it can be translated to many different words. And I find it very interesting, the contrast and the countercultural perspective that Jesus gives when he says, blessed or happy or joyful, materios, are the poor in spirit. And blessed are those who are meek, and blessed are those who mourn, and all these things. And then at the end, it says, blessed are those who are persecuted. Blessed are you when people shall revile you and persecute you. And for yours is the kingdom of heaven. And I find that so fascinating because it's, Jesus, I think, was very known to stir up a little bit of, trouble during his time, like especially amongst the religious leaders and Pharisees and Sadducees. But just the way he taught, being very countercultural, I find fascinating. And then when it goes into the following sort of passage or section, if you will, when he begins to talk about being the light of the world and the salt of the earth, I think that's a nice continuation of the initial Beatitudes, because he's saying, if you live this way, as I talked about in the Beatitudes, you're going to stand out. Thus, you will be persecuted. So blessed are the persecuted. Mm-hmm. And then because you stand out, you might as well take advantage of that. So you're the light of the world and the salt of the earth. So that's sort of how I look at it. I'll give one more passage. It's the 10 Commandments. And this is like stuff I'm studying. So I might not be like, I'm like actively studying it. If I hope I'm getting all the information right. I think I am. But in the 10 Commandments, so interestingly, from what I've gathered, the 10 Commandments were originally noted as the 10 words. So like when you think of when what's it called? When if a pastor these days would say, "Oh, I'm gonna preach a word," like this phrase, "I'm gonna preach a word," like he's gonna preach a sermon. That's I sort of think of it the same way, like the 10 words that God gave the Israelites, and it's fascinating because the first 4 are directed towards honoring God directly. So the first one being, "I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of slavery. You shall not make any idols or any images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain." And I think it's, keep the Sabbath. Yeah, remember to keep the Sabbath and honor it as holy. So all those first 4 commandments or words are very directed towards honoring God directly. The fifth is to honor your father and mother. So it's sort of like a crossover, if you will, between honoring God directly and honoring other people. Because by honoring your father and mother, you're also honoring God. But you're also, obviously honoring your father and mother. And then the rest of the commandments or words are all directed towards loving your neighbor or loving somebody else. They all say, I don't remember the exact order off the top of my head at the moment, but I know it's like, do not covet your neighbor's house, donkey, wife, ox, all those things. Do not falsely testify against your neighbor. Do not murder. Those sorts of things. And it's interesting, Jesus in the New Testament, when he was asked what's the greatest command, he said the number one command is to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and the number two is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so I find it interesting how those two passages connect. Like it's almost like that's the foundational piece of. I mean, it really is. That's what he was saying. That's the foundational piece of all the other commandments that were given, is to love God and to love others. And I think it's displayed beautifully in the Ten Commandments. And so I know that was a little bit of a rant. I'm just very fascinated by these things. So
it was great. That's what I wanted. That's why I asked you the question. I wanted to see where you guys were, and that's really really cool, Jake. I like the way you're looking at things, and before we jump into your song here and wrap it up, as we've talked about before, I have two sons. My older son Tyler is a legitimate hero. He's a fireman and a fire dispatcher, and he's out there making a difference every day. And my youngest son Matthew is profoundly autistic. So he's a big fan of timers, and 9 seconds means something to him. So what we like to do is before we end here, I like to, as you can see on there, we like to have Matthew's 9-ish seconds of wisdom. So Sky, if you want to give us like 9-ish seconds of wisdom, and then we'll let Jake think about it, and then it'll be his turn to put him under the fire.
I have one, so I want to see if I can get exactly 9.
Yeah, I should have thought about that when I'm talking to two autistic folks.
Okay.
9 seconds. Go.
No, I'm not ready.
Stop. Okay, Jake.
18 seconds. Yeah, because if you split it in half, that would be very sad. Okay. I would definitely say don't give up. Yeah, there might be short mistakes here and there, but it won't affect the rest of your life. And just keep going. Just be you. I was 8 seconds.
Nice.
So that gives you an extra second, Jake. So go for it.
Well, always be mindful as your fundamental purpose to love God and love others, even if you're brought to a position of power, or even if you're feeling upset one day. Never assume that you have the right to treat someone poorly because you were brought into a place of power, or even because you're feeling bad someday. Always treat people with respect, always treat people with love, and always, through that, you're honoring God. So
that was 20 seconds. How dare you?
Not that we're counting, but that. So tell us about Party in Heaven.
Man, so Party in Heaven it's a very fun song. Love this song. So we wrote this song during, actually, believe it or not, we wrote this song during the same time that some of our family members passed away. Yeah. So we had 2 family members pass away, and we wrote 3 songs during that time, sort of inspired by that season of life. First one being Till We Meet Again, the one that was played from the Instagram reel that was shown earlier. Second being Party in Heaven, and a third one called Green Eyed Girl. So Party in Heaven is actually a celebratory response towards someone's entrance into heaven. So it's an interesting reverse take, I suppose. And when our family members passed away, we kind of just started really thinking, and we maybe thought this a little bit before, but we started really thinking, okay, as a family, we really began thinking and talking about and discussing this idea of what are they experiencing right now? What are they seeing right now? What are they doing right now? What are they experiencing? And obviously we don't know exactly, we have little snippets and ideas, but the Bible says that there's no more sorrow, or he will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there won't be any more sorrow, mourning, crying, or pain. And so we kind of thought that means, wow, like it's going to be a really joyful place, an amazing place. We're going to be in heaven in eternity, celebrating with God when we go there. And so that's really the basis of the song.
Yeah.
Is it was written during that time of grief, but we were thinking like, wow, like they're experiencing heaven, they're having such a great time, and like just the almost image that comes to mind of like they walk through the doors and it's like everyone's there like,
Yeah.
woohoo, yay, you know, this XYZ, this person is here, you know, like so that's where the song sort of got its development from.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's great. It's a great song, and we're going to be playing it in a second. But I have to thank you guys. You have been so much fun. I was really looking forward to this. Morgan built you up, and you guys knocked out everything out of the park. You guys were amazing.
so much.
So thrilled to talk to you guys. And please, 100%, keep us updated on what you guys are doing, and we'll do everything we can to let as many people know about it as possible, because you guys were so much fun. It was a true pleasure to meet you guys, and I just thank God for you, and thank you for answering the call.
Thank you so much, Roger. Thank you for having us. Thank you for calling us.
Yes.
And you know, it was a very huge blessing to be able to meet you sort of in person. It's over the computer, but like we're seeing face to face in a way.
Yeah, we have met.
It was a huge honor to meet you and, you know, discuss various topics with you: autism,
Yes.
faith, theology, and music. And so,
And you guys are now officially a part of the CCM Discovery family. So let's we're gonna roll out of here with "Party in Heaven" from Jake and Sky. Thank you so much, guys. Love you.
thank you so much. If you guys could be on that side, if you guys could be on my experience, be on that side by the drum set.